Hello everyone. So today we are going to understand what is data science. Data science is basically the study of data. So you know that there have been so many companies which have been working on data. They have been collecting huge amount of information. So first the challenge they faced was how to organize this data, how to store this data. Then with the introduction to big data Hadoop concept, they could understand, okay, this is how we can store our data in a very good structured manner. Now the question is how we can utilize this data in proper decision makings. This is where data science comes in. Data science helps with certain methods of recording, storing, and analyzing data to effectively extract some useful information. The goal of data science is to gain insights and knowledge from any type of data, which may be a structured or unstructured data. And we can also use the concept of machine learning, which will help us in giving us certain predictions. And these predictions will be very helpful in various decision makings in the field of business or in so many other sectors. Now let's take a very simple example and understand what is data science. So Mr. Jones wants to buy some mangoes because he's very much fond of mangoes. So he says, okay, let me go to the market and buy some mangoes. When he reaches to the market area, he observes that there are so many varieties of mangoes available. So now the question is, which one is the best one? How do I pick up the most sweetest mangoes? So this is where Mr. Jones is getting confused. So fortunately, he remembers that somewhere in the childhood, his grandma had told him that the bright yellow mangoes are the sweeter ones. So he says, okay, this grandma is a very experienced person. She knows a lot about mangoes. So let me go ahead and pick up the bright yellow ones, which will definitely be the sweeter ones. So with this idea, he picks up the bright yellow mangoes, and he comes home believing that this is definitely going to be a happy ending. Unfortunately, life is not so simple. When he comes home and starts tasting the mangoes, he observes that not all bright yellow mangoes are sweet. So, whatever the grandma had told him about the bright yellow color is not enough to predict the sweetness of the mangoes. So, there is some more information or more data required to have the perfect result about the sweetness of the mangoes. So he says, okay, let me explore more about the sweetness of the mango, which definitely goes beyond the color of the mango. So Mr. Jones is not going to give up so easily. So he starts doing a lot of research. He starts tasting the mangoes, and whatever conclusion he makes, he tries to note it down. So after a lot of research, he observes that the bright yellow mangoes, which are bigger in size, are the sweeter ones, whereas the ones which are smaller in size are not that sweet. Mostly they are 50% of the time they are sweeter, otherwise they're not that sweet. So this makes Mr. Jones very happy, and he now believes I am a master of understanding the sweetness of the mangoes, and this time if I go to the market, I'm going to definitely buy a perfect set of mangoes. So with this concept, he goes to the market again. But what happens here? His favorite vendor has changed. Now he has to buy mangoes from a different vendor who is not even providing the mango which he had purchased from the previous vendor. He has all different varieties of mangoes. So till now, whatever research he has done is not applicable in this scenario. So what does he do? So now Mr. Jones has to start from the scratch. And anyways, Mr. Jones is not going to give up so easily. So he says, never mind, I will keep on tasting the different varieties of mangoes, and then I will pick up the best ones. So after doing the tasting of all the mangoes, he concludes that the smaller, pale colored mangoes are the sweeter ones. So he comes back with those mangoes. So now he keeps on doing a lot of research like this. Many times he visits the market and picks up the best mangoes. So every time he is collecting a lot of information. And now Mr. Jones feels, yes, now I'm definitely an expert of mangoes. So now Mr. Jones has a friend called Tina visiting him. Since he has done so much of research on mangoes, then he says, okay, Tina, let me offer you some awesome sweet mangoes. Tina says, thank you so much. I definitely love mangoes, but for me, sweetness is not that important. I would love to have juicy mangoes. Juicy mangoes. This is something new in my dictionary. I never ever cared about the juiciness of the mangoes. I have always been behind the sweetness of the mangoes. So I have really no idea that which mango is going to be the sweeter ones. So this requires some more learning. So this way you will understand that when we are trying to understand which mangoes are going to be sweeter, we need to collect more and more data to make some useful predictions. Now Mr. Jones moves to a different part of the world. He moves to a different country. And here he finds that the ones which are red and yellow green in color are the sweeter ones. So this is another information that he is going to add into his findings that he has done. But the story doesn't end here. There is a twist in the story. Mr. Jones gets married to somebody who doesn't like mangoes. She likes apples instead. So now he has to start learning about apples in the same way as he had been learning about the mangoes. So whatever findings he had done for mangoes is now completely useless in this scenario. Anyways, our Mr. Jones is very courageous person. He's not going to give up so easily. So he says, okay, now let me start learning about apples in the same way as I did for mangoes, because definitely I love my wife. Unfortunately, Mr. Jones is a computer programmer. So whatever data he has collected, he had been writing that into the form of a program. So by now he has almost created a kind of software wherein he has written instructions like if the color of the mango is bright yellow, if the size is big, and if it is being sold from my favorite vendor, it is definitely going to be sweet. If the mango is soft, it is going to be a juicy mango. So this way, Mr. Jones is collecting a lot of information and he is writing a computer program for the same. And he is now very much sure that if he gives this rule book to someone else, that person is going to pick up the best fruit from the market. But you know what? Life is not that easy. Every time there is a new possibility. There may be a new variety of mango or an apple coming in the market. So, whatever findings you have done till now is not enough. So, he has to write those instructions again into the computer program. Every time manual updation of the program or new rule has to be added in the computer program. So, this is very complicated and time consuming. And definitely, Mr. Jones has so many other work to do, not just doing a PhD in finding the best mangoes and the best apples. This is where the machine learning enters. Machine learning, it's a program, means it's an approach of writing more smarter programs. So whatever findings which Mr. Jones has collected, that will work as an input to a model of machine learning. And he will also give the output to the machine learning algorithm that if the mango is bright yellow in color, it's bigger in size, and if it is purchased from the favorite vendor, then the mango is going to be sweet. Like this, whatever research he has done, he will give this as an input to the computer program, to the machine learning algorithm. This data will be considered as training data. That means Mr. Jones is training his machine based on the input and the output which he has been learning since so many days. And then he will also try to test the model by giving some inputs which the machine does not know. So then he will say, okay, now I have a red color apple which is purchased from so and so part of the country. Now tell me, the machine, what will be the sweetness of the mango? So now the machine will predict the output. The output predicted by the machine may or may not be accurate. Sometimes the answer may be perfectly okay, but there will be times where the machine will fail to predict the correct output. But we don't need to worry about it. Nobody is perfect in this world. And the good news is our machine is a self-learning machine, or it's a self-learning model. It will improvise itself based on the failures it incorporates. So this failure will act as an input to the machine and it will try to redevelop itself, and now it will be added to its training data. So such type of model is known as reinforcement learning. So now you understand that how data science works, with starting from the collection of data, improvising the structure of the data, analyze the data, and also predict the output that will help us in our day-to-day life. So let's summarize. So data science is about organizing the data and analyzing the data. It is basically a collection of various tools, algorithms, and machine learning principles with the goal to discover hidden patterns from the raw data. Using these tools, we can process the data, analyze it, and we can also build some models that will be very helpful in prediction of certain possibilities. It is also about self-improvement based on continuous learnings and findings. That is basically known as reinforcement learning. That's all about data science. Thank you.